Welcome to our school district recap. My name is Chris Lose. I am joined by Robin. Thank you for being here.
Hi.
And Jason, appreciate you. If you would like to be a part of our team, we would love to cover every school board meeting. Currently, it's just a few of us, work, life, everybody trying to figure out schedules. It gets tough because there's so few of us. So if you can maybe once every 3 or 4 months, watch a meeting and join us, it would be amazing. kgemtv@gmail.com is where you can go. Just send an email. Hey, I'd love to be a part of your recap team. We'd love to have you. The more people we have here, the better perspectives we get, and I think we all learn from each other better that way. So we're going to be covering today the school board meeting from February the 12th. It kicked off at 6:35. It was almost or closely to 3.5 hours long. Very long night.
Yes.
Yeah, too long.
Very long night. It wasn't the 6-hour one that we've had in the past, but it was definitely long. There was no public comment at the closed session. Items at the closed session were the expulsion of a student, which was moved unanimously 3-0. There were 2 board members that were absent, President Rob Hammond and
The
new board member. My bad.
One of the 2 new ones.
Yes, 2 were not there. You can find all this like a minute 28 in on the link below. We have the full meeting. They also talked about Sandy Castro becoming interim food service director. That was moved through unanimously 3-0, along with Jonathan Nava as director of maintenance, operations, and transportation. 6 minutes in, there was the Pledge of Allegiance by Monroe students, along with student excited about learning Spanish to talk to her grandma, which I thought was super cool, along with a little bit, some information from a Renaissance student who shared about the program, which I didn't really know too much about what they did, but she shared it well.
Yeah, the students were really well spoken.
Yeah,
they did a really good job.
They were young. I was like, I couldn't remember doing stuff like that.
Yeah, 4th and 5th graders, I think they were.
Shout
These
to
kids
y'all.
are way more advanced now.
Yes.
They're way more advanced.
They all have their own
100%.
podcast.
No, students represented throughout this meeting, so they
Yes,
definitely kicked it
absolutely.
off. There was roll call. Again, Rob Hammond. Oh, it was Michael Ochone, who was excused. It was Rob Hammond's anniversary. Without saying anything else, due to family wishes, they did share that they were devastated by a loss within the district at this time. For those of you who know, would know better. They changed a few items around before the proceeding, asked for a decorum as well, that people be respectful and cool, which was kind of the preset of like, oh.
It's about to go down.
Yeah, I think-
Whenever you hear that.
They obviously could feel a vibe in the meeting. I will say my audio cut out a lot. Did
lot
your
of mine
audio?
too.
Okay,
Same.
good. I was wondering, so if you experienced that, we were experiencing the same thing.
I think it was public. I think that mic at the podium is really directional, so it was missing some folks. There was Dr. Hart Rodish shouted out the maintenance and operations team for helping to get things back in order after the windstorms and the Eaton fire. Shout out to my guy Mario Tyler. He got the shout. Along with the custodial team, that's 14 minutes in. You can catch all the shout outs. There was the informational and technology team that was recognized as well. Maritza Travanti had a board report sharing a lot, but along the lines of like what the future legislation could mean for public education. It was speculation and possibilities.
I think she was, I think she was kind of saying this is what the Department of Education does from a federal standpoint and how it could possibly affect your local public school, the money, the funding, special education, Title IX, different things like that. Common Core, that's a federal thing, but it ultimately comes down to states to decide. And she kept reiterating that she was fairly confident that California would maintain the level of expectation.
To jump back to the cleanup real quick, I gotta give a shout out to the 2 admins too, Pacone and Ayala. I went over there to the high school to help, and those 2 dudes had their shirts off Like, not literally, like, you know what I mean? But, like, you know, it had, like, they were out there with their shirts rolled up, like, digging, you know, leaf blowers, sweeping.
Nice.
You know, so, and I saw that first, and I've never seen that from any admins before. So they were out there, like, literally sweating and
That's cool.
getting in, trying to get the school back right, too. So shout out to them.
Yeah.
Cool.
No, I like recognizing the work, especially from other spaces.
Yeah.
When it's roll your sleeves up and get to it. Yeah, like you said, she was definitely felt confident about California. 20 minutes in, you could see Maritza, board member Travanti's comment. There was a student rep who shared about term 2, the job fair that they had. Thanked Mr. Dracone. Dr. Rodas welcomed Clifton's interim principal, Ashley Leone, who has been the assistant, I guess, principal. She shared that 23 minutes in. And they also shouted the interim assistant principal, Erica Ramirez Morales, who has been with the district since 2011. Dr. Rodas also commented, sending messages to families about being a safe and inclusive district 28 minutes in, just with everything going on. And they've sent, I guess, comms out like Parent Square and emails.
They communicated pretty early on, and they just wanted to say that because we're not constantly communicating it doesn't mean we don't continue to support our families and our community.
Yeah, doesn't mean ICE is going to run onto campus anywhere. You know what I mean? Like, not to say that it can't happen.
We got to get that fencing up, though, so they can't get in.
Correct. Fencing is definitely important, which is also
coming up,
being discussed. Yeah. There was a financial stabilization plan approved in December by the board and by Los Angeles, County of Los Angeles in January. So 6th grade is going to remain in the middle school.
At the elementary school.
Elementary school.
Yeah, so the elementary schools will go TK through 6th now.
That's a good thing, though.
Yeah, I think so, too.
That's a good idea.
I mean, it's not rare.
Yeah.
Right?
That was me in Pasadena.
It's a fairly standard practice.
Okay. Yeah, and the 42 is that way.
So it's not like we're inventing a new system here.
No, and I like it. It was like, 6th to 8th.
11, yeah.
That's like mustaches versus no mustaches,
It's a big difference.
Yeah, it's different. Also talked about dual immersion consolidating to Monroe. Wild Rose will be English only. They are meeting currently with the dual immersion staff. She shouted out the MCAS job fair, shouted out Mr. Fertig and Mr. Ross. Mayflower also celebrated its 100th birthday. They created a time capsule and had a really good time. So that's like 30 minutes in on the link below. From there, it went to public comment, which will kind of summarize. It was a lot of public comment. And let me say to all the students that got up there to that intimidating podium and articulated so well, like, salute. Tell your friends, like, that's how you get it done. Pull up. Keep telling them to go to these very awkward, uncomfortable places and speak. It's important. Y'all add an energy to those very, very lifeless rooms. So thank you for getting out there.
And you can do it here, right?
Yeah, you can be a recap for sure. Yeah, for sure. We'd love to have students here on the recap team. kgmtv@gmail.com. That'd be awesome. Dale Rogers, 33 minutes in, shared about Mayflower School. The mic again was kind of cutting out, but he didn't sound too pleased about the fencing.
I think the concern with that was making it like it was a public space at one point. So neighboring, families could access the fields and the playgrounds, and that's not accessible anymore because of the fencing.
I mean, I get it, but at the end of the day, it's still a school. Yeah. Like, it's not a park.
Right.
Yeah.
So, it's all right. You're going to be all right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not the end of it. Because I didn't like how he was like, oh, the kids are going to be stacked up if there's something. You know what I mean? Like, he went off into a whole tirade.
That did come up from a couple different comments about the safety of fencing kids in.
Yeah. Chill out, man. Go to the park.
Hey, man, not everyone knows how to public comment well, man. This is a scary place up there.
But passion is important.
Yes,
he was passionate for sure.
But not about fences.
For sure. For items on the agenda, public comment, Desiree Harbaugh stepped up. Thankful for slowing down the Plymouth fencing plan. Thanked one nameless board member for looking closer into it. Hope they didn't take action on the item. Billy Maddox was a student talking about the pool maintenance. That's 42 minutes in on the link below. He just felt as though the district doesn't care about aquatics at MHS. That was echoed through a few comments. Zeke Westra, was a junior who was sad to see the lack of investment into the pool. Josh Bolton talked about the aquatics facility getting shut down. I didn't know that. Like, I didn't know it had gotten shut down.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah, the health department ended up coming in and basically saying these are a checklist of things that need to be taken care of or will shut you down. And at one point, I think Travanti mentioned that the board took action to shut the pool down before it became the public, like the health department shutting it down. So technically our board made the decision to close the pool before the health department officially shut it down.
Okay. Okay.
Due to a variety of things, which I know they talk about more later.
And well, they had talked, like, it's been discussed for a long time about the pool, but
the kid, like, check this out, the kids, all you kids that came there and spoke, like, it's not that they don't care about aquatics or they don't care about you guys. We're just broke. We've been saying this for months.
And the other part, that's what they said.
Yeah,
we're just
the
broke.
board.
You know, there's so much other stuff. It's not like a personal shot at aquatics.
Yeah.
No.
It's just the
We
state
have
of the
no
whole.
money.
Yeah, and I mean, there's just truths and facts. The pool is over 30 years old.
Right.
It was built initially as a community and school district investment that was meant to serve both entities. And when the city of Monrovia sunsetted their contract and didn't return to it, it became, a bigger issue than I think the school district could handle. And so it's kind of been let go a little bit. It's a little sad. I grew up at that pool. I was there on its opening day in, I think we said 86.
Yeah.
I've been a swim lessons teacher, lifeguard, pool manager, swim coach. I've been there, I've done it all. So it is a big thing that's lasted lots of generations, which we saw generationally a lot of public comment as well, speaking about the need for aquatics in Monrovia and hopefully someday getting us there.
Yeah.
I think we've all swam in that pool. I mean, they had the high dive. Like, we did free swim there. My kids did swimming lessons there.
Yep.
You know, and so I think it's important to get it fixed. I don't know how we're going to get it fixed, but I mean, we got a lot of millionaires in Monrovia.
They were open to people stepping in as corporate sponsors.
Yeah,
they were like
totally
entertaining all of that. Shout out to Lucas Juarez who got up there, Sydney Beltran as well from the girls water polo and swim team. Karen DeClue got up there and shared. I liked what she was talking about with long-term solutions for like how you can generate revenue, renting the pool out. $15,000 a month, up to $15,000 a month, or you can make a lot of money.
Facility rental is a big business.
Yeah.
Like, even with the soccer fields, the base, like those fields when they're not in use by our teams can be
and our
rented
school
out.
district already
do it.
We rent out the high school, we rent out campuses a lot for different things.
Right.
But I was telling him there's we don't have to invent a new system. These things are already being used. There's other districts whose high school programs run summer programs to generate revenue.
Yeah.
So they keep that, and then you're also serving the community. So there are definitely solutions, but like Jason said, money is not available right now, unfortunately.
We need an EBT card.
Melissa or David DeClue, first grade swimmer.
Cutest
Shout out to him.
Good job, David.
Yeah, first grader got up there, really let it know. 55 minutes in, go see what David said. Passionate, he wants to swim here in Monrovia. Melissa Savage, alumni, she graduated with me. Shout out to Melissa. But also shouted there was a $75 million bond. What would a new aquatic center look like? Rebecca Eiler, incoming freshman. Rebecca had some mic issues. Elizabeth Alonso would like to see a new aquatic center. Christine Ritza talked about the Plymouth fence, security and safety. Would like site experts to be involved sooner in the discussion. Hopes they consider the new plans. Jennifer Mincy came from Temple City and was bummed out to see what's going on with the pools, which sucks when they have a pool over there that you could have stayed at. I hate seeing that for us.
The more kids leaving, like leaving the district just because we don't have a pool.
Yeah.
Because there's kids who are passionate about their sport and they're, you know.
Yeah, for sure.
For them to leave because we don't have our things together, we got to fix that.
And, you know, like as a student who's like, if you're hoping to get a scholarship maybe and get to college off of this, and now you put all your years in, and now you're one student was going to be a senior.
Yeah.
It's like.
Well, and there's enough research that shows that kids who have something they're connected to out of school tend to do better academically, better socially, better emotionally. And so it's a group of students that you're disconnecting. But on the flip side, we can't cater to every single need, you know. And so
and
this
every sport
is
and every
this is a hard space to be in.
Yeah, for sure. Board definitely shouted that they were proud of the students that showed up. From there, it went to Dixon and Associates, an hour 16 in. Scrolling. I'm not going to go too into the weeds as we try to keep this recap to close to 30 minutes and not 3.5 hours. But they were talking about like elevating school infrastructure, answered questions from the board, shared who their team is. John Clem presented for program and construction management. So that was an hour 36.
It was the bids for who was going to handle construction for the bond.
Yes. So see that for yourself. An hour 52. They talked about the pool. Currently practicing in San Marino. Transportation for that. Safe school environment was discussed. 2 hours and 9 minutes in, where they talked about the $18 million from that bond that went to like cameras, security, HVAC, but it was like safety and security. Talked about clocks not working in buildings and getting basic things like that fixed and repaired. Also needing like single point accesses. These are older schools, they don't have that. They have a lot of access points. Needing to modernize rooms. Decisions that have to be made for the whole district. So monies don't mean they don't care about the program.
Right.
It's just they're looking at a whole district and having to make very, very difficult decisions. There is a citizen oversight board for Measure MM. So
yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah, that's the checks and balances.
Yeah. Like you said, 86 was when the pool was built. From there, it went to a consent agenda item, 2 hours, 21 in. SIPSA. SIPSA is
School Single Plan for Student Achievement. School Plan for Student Achievement.
Yeah. Okay. And they were talking about like no tutoring at MHS.
The language wasn't in there.
Oh, okay.
Right. So both middle schools referenced tutoring as a accommodation in their school plan, and the high school did not reference tutoring. And Dr. Hart-Rodas cleared it up with it's just a language. The high school just didn't use the word language, the language of tutoring, but it does offer other corrective, like Saturday school.
Got it. Other ways you can.
Yes, other ways you can get extra instruction.
2 hours, 25 minutes in, the fencing at Plymouth was discussed, timeline of meetings, 3 fencing options shown, favorites, feedback, discussion took place. Board member Gomez Tagle would like to push it back to the next meeting to get more feedback from the families. They kind of discussed that because it was just like, well, then that pushes it back, which makes it more expensive and pushes it back. Yeah. So it delays.
They tabled the discussion.
Which I get, you want to make an informed decision, but there's so many things happening in real time.
Well, it just makes me wonder what decision, like, what are you not getting presented the first time? Or what questions, why aren't you asking the questions the first time around?
So their whole thing is they don't want a fence right up against the sidewalk at the end of the day, right? At Plymouth. Like that's really the main concern.
The community.
Yeah, they want.
And even they said the police and fire department said that could potentially create a hazard.
Yeah.
Having the fence on the street.
So why is it that so hard? Like, well, that makes sense.
I think you said it though. Like, why aren't those questions getting asked sooner?
Right.
And the discussion happening sooner.
I mean, again, we know that the fencing stuff kind of came out of nowhere. It felt like a little bit, but it has also been going for
a long time.
I mean. I feel like it, I mean, you know, who knows? Time
I've worked at every elementary school, and the ones that didn't have fences, this has always been an ongoing thing.
Yeah.
So Mayflower, Brad Oaks,
Yep.
was always a thing. Like we either need a fence or we don't, or neighbors complaining about it. This has been going on for ages.
They voted through option 1 unanimously.
At Wild Rose.
At Wild Rose, correct. Then they discussed item 1. I didn't write down all the little numbers, but it's the MHS boys volleyball extended field trip, voted through unanimously. Training agreement with Concentra Health Services, 2 hours and 50 minutes in, on the link below, voted through unanimously, and is zero cost to the district as well.
For the adult school. That's
Yes.
the adult school.
Correct. Yeah, thank you for that shout. Notice of completion for roofing for 3 of the schools. The item punch list was completed, so they voted through unanimously as well. And sorry that my notes get less and less, but by 3 hours, like, it's been a long week. And
well, and even in the meeting, you can tell that they're getting through some of the business side of things.
Yeah, 3 hours in anything, it's hard to be really productive and efficient and sharp by past hour 2, my personal opinion. But I know this work has to get done. Restoring Brad Oaks building, 2 hours and 53 minutes in. Oh, the burnt down one and they kind of discussed why it took so long. Insurance was really a lot to do with it, and working through all of that. You could hear the discussion, but it was voted through unanimously. Repairing the damage to the library at MHS. There was a water heater.
Flood. I think there was a flood. Yeah, I'm not sure I just know it said flooding.
I think it was like a hot water heater or something like that. But flooding, so they got to get the library repaired. That was voted through unanimously. Measure MM project management companies. Oh, that was 3 hours in. Dixon and Associates and TeleQ were the 2 that they were going in, and they voted, and it was a vote of 2-1, which meant the motion failed, which I was like,
well, yeah, same thing, because it's like, then why have a meeting with only 3 people if you can't have, I don't know, if one,
And
they did talk about possibly reintroducing it
yes,
when the other board members could be there, but again, with the conversation that any delays just add to cost in the long run. But the motion did fail. They motioned to, I think, go forward with one specific company, and it failed 2-1. And so it's done.
So it gets pushed down the road, and then will be voted on again. Hopefully they can have more board members in attendance so the vote can go through. Tentative agreement with MTA was voted through unanimously.
Yeah, so they just approved language in the teacher's contract between the district. Just little things like, what does it mean to be the principal of the union, and different things like that. Okay. They did present it, I think, at one of the December meetings. So if you want to go back and look at that, the specific language that was approved.
Cool. There was also reclassification and salary placement for classified positions. I think I got that right.
Yeah, I just wrote reclassification, passed.
Yeah, unanimous vote.
I mean,
what does that even mean?
I think it's like the way that they can give somebody a raise and a new job description.
Right.
So they reclassified.
What's a raise?
They reclassified a position which may have had a different salary attached to it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Speculation.
This is like, I'll be honest, like hosting the city council recap and the school district recap, these are hard. This is like homework for me. Like I my brain hurts after watching these 3-hour meetings. Like I feel like I'm confused, been kind of clear, but it's a lot of gray with a little bit of understanding. So again, if you watch these, we'd love to have you here to share. kgmtv@gmail.com. Reach out. Then they went to recognizing February as Black History Month, read the resolution 3 hours and 15 minutes in, talked about National School Counseling Week, read that resolution along with the resolution for Career and Technical Education Month. Then they voted on the cancellation of agreement with SJB Management Group. So that has been canceled, and that was voted through unanimously as well. They shouted the next few meetings coming up, 2/26, February 26th, March 12th, and March 26th, along with parent conferences coming up. Cesar Chavez Day being recognized, March 28th is a day off, and then March 31st through April 4th will be spring break. So that is what is on the way.
We're in the home stretch.
Home stretch.
It's the back end of the school year.
Yeah. The dog days of the school year.
Wow.
After spring break, there's no more days off except for Memorial Day. So it's like all the way through.
You go through,
all the way through. So it's, that's when it starts being painful.
Anything that I missed?
Open house is also, coming up. I will say, I know, because Jason and I are both employees for the school district as well. I do know that the next board meeting is the one where they'll be announcing some of the layoffs and different things like that. Yeah. Okay. So it's going to be a bigger, meatier probably conversation, and we might see some of the actual results of those school closures and things like that.
Yeah.
So if you care about your kids and your schools in the community that you live in, this is your opportunity to see what's going on.
Yeah.
And get the information so that you're not at a board meeting saying you didn't know that something was happening.
Or you're not getting your information from a Facebook page.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You come actually see it firsthand.
Source check.
Right.
Is the school district site that would have the information, or like before the meeting?
So I think what's been happening is the teachers union has been working with the human resources department to discuss where and how layoffs will look like. So they'll do things like a seniority list, which they've already shared with employees, basically saying this is how many years of service you have, this is what you can teach, this is, all of your information, and it puts you literally in this order compared to your other employees. And with the closures, what they have to do is they'll have to now figure out like exactly how many science teachers do we need?
Right.
Exactly how many English teachers do we need? And then they look at their list and they say, okay, we have exactly 18 teachers that can teach English, but we only need 12.
Yeah.
So then they'll go based on our numbers,
and then
enrollment.
Is it seniority?
And then it's seniority from that part.
Got it.
Yeah.
So there'll be people that lose their jobs, and that's not going to be just teachers. It'll be teachers, it'll be one-on-one aides, it'll be, across the board.
What's needed, because then it's what's needed.
And what's also going to affect the kids, because you do have kids who need extra help or one-on-ones, but they're not going to be able to afford them, so they're going to be like, sorry, and that's going to create a whole nother issue because IEP, it's going to get pretty bad.
So this is the effect now that we're going to see of the declining enrollment in Monrovia schools. So we've talked about it. We've had the uproars of schools closing or kids going back and forth or consolidating programs. Employment and layoffs is going to be the next step.
Yeah.
And that's
going to suck.
Especially when teachers have 2 more months of work.
Yeah. Because they have to let them know by March, right?
Yeah, I think that's what I say. I think the next, yes.
End of March.
This is like, it's we've been saying, these dates and seeing this get to here, but to now be here in real time, please, if you can, February 26th is the next meeting. If you care, show up. It's important. Thank you. Hope that this recap was helpful to you. Robin, thank you for joining.
Thank you.
Jason, appreciate you.
Join us at the new round table.
Right.
Yeah, we got a nice shiny shout out to K-Gym and the amazing work they do here with the nice new table. And we'll catch you next time. Thanks.